Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Getting Your Shit Together. I am Neil, and with me, as always, is Jerome.
Hi, everyone. Glad to be here. Today, we're going to dive into some interesting numbers from the Toronto Real Estate Board.
Yeah, and we're going to break down the market statistics for the month of August 2024, and also we'll look at some affordability metrics. We'll start with a big picture view as to how the market has been operating for the last 5 years or so, especially in the month of August. And then zoom in and see as to what is happening in the last couple of months, that is from May of 2024. So let's start with an overview of the Greater Toronto Area. We are seeing sales activity at multi-year lows. Jerome, do you want to talk a bit about what is really playing out there?
Sure, Neil. It's pretty clear that prices are generally lower than last year across most regions of the GTA, though there's one exception that we'll get into in just a little bit. But what really stands out is that the number of listings is higher to the level of sales, which is putting us towards a buyer's market in most of those areas.
Exactly, and that seems to be the theme, right? That we are in a buyer's market.
Yeah.
And on top of that, properties are taking longer to sell, about maybe 1 to 2 weeks longer than what we have seen in the previous years. So if you are out and selling your property or home, you've got to be a bit more patient right now. And the sellers also have to price it perfectly to get some attraction from buyers. I've seen a number of listings come on the market, at least in my neighborhood, sit for a couple of weeks before they're taken off entirely.
Yeah.
Okay, now maybe let's dive in and look at some region-specific activity, maybe starting with the city of Toronto. What is going on there, Jerome?
So Toronto, as we all know, it's a bit of a mixed bag. While overall the market looks pretty similar to the rest of the GTA, there's a key difference. If you look at the median prices, they're actually still a little bit higher than they were last year directly in Toronto. And in certain neighborhoods, places like Bayview, Casa Loma, and the Beaches, prices have increased in certain property segments.
That is interesting. But even with those price increases, homes are taking longer to sell, almost 3 weeks longer in some cases, or most cases.
Yeah.
And just like the rest of GTA, Toronto is clearly in a buyer's market.
Yeah. So let's move on to Peel region. It's a similar story. Prices are below last year levels, and homes are taking about 2 weeks longer to sell in that area. Buyers are definitely in the driver's seat here. Only the condo segment in Brampton actually witnessed some price increases since July.
Interesting. Well, York region also follows the same trend. Sales are down while prices are lower than last year. They are still higher compared to previous years or prior to 2023. But with each month, since May of 2024, that is earlier this year, we are seeing drop in sales activity. Though it is still not technically in the buyer's market, we are edging closer to it.
Yeah. And let's not forget the months of inventory that are still in York, which have shot up, and properties are taking about a week to 10 days longer to sell over average.
Okay, now let's switch and talk about Durham region. Jerome, what's happening there?
Durham's an interesting area for sure. Sales are down and prices are a little bit lower than they were in 2021 and 2022. The months of inventory aren't as high, though, as in other regions, which means it's kind of a balanced market.
That's the odd one out. Still, it is still taking longer to sell, about 2 weeks more than usual.
Yeah.
And even though it is more balanced, I think buyers still have more control here as well.
Yeah. So last but not least, the West End. So I know we talked about Peel, but now we're going to go into a little bit further west into the Halton region.
Mm-hmm.
Here, sales are just slightly lower compared to August 22 and 23. But overall, the median prices are still higher than they were in 21 and 22, which is a good sign. Note that price increase levels have been witnessed since July in Burlington, Halton Hills or Acton, and Milton for both single-family homes and attached home segments, so like duplexes and the like.
Okay.
Do you think things are about to change here, though, Neil?
I guess it's too early to tell, as homes are taking about 2 weeks longer to sell, and longer than it took to sell in July. Still, with enough sales happening, Halton remains a balanced market for now.
Yeah, seems like it. Okay, all right, Neil. Let's move on to some affordability.
Mhm.
There's some good news for buyers here, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If someone can manage to get 20% down payment, and there are various ways to do that, we'll talk about it in some of our future episodes. They can buy an average condo in the GTA region with less than 100,000 in household income. If you're going in with the minimum 5% down payment, though, the income requirement jumps to about 125,000.
Yeah. And for detached or single family homes, affordability has improved as well. With 20% down payment, you need less than 200,000 in household income at this moment. But it's tough to buy a detached home with less than 20% down these days, except maybe in the Durham area. Think Oshawa and York, a little bit of the northern parts.
Yeah. And the trend over the past 6 months has been that of increasing affordability. In fact, it's affordable to buy a house, or more affordable to buy in about 72% of the 268 location and property type combinations that we track using the Toronto Real Estate Board's data. There are a few exceptions, though. The townhouse segment in the city of Toronto witnessed a slight decrease in affordability. So did the single family home segments in Halton. I guess it's because of the price increases recently witnessed, specifically in Burlington.
Yeah, Burlington. That's a story in and of itself, I think. And the biggest improvement in affordability overall is for semi-detached or single-family attached homes.
Yep. So, to wrap things up, the market is still quite slow with lower sales and taking longer to sell. But there is good news on the affordability front, given the recent price drops and, of course, the interest rate cuts that we are witnessing.
Yep. So buyers definitely have more control right now. While things are looking up in terms of affordability, now might not be the time to let your guard down if you're looking to buy. If you're ready, the right moment to act could be just around the corner. So to assess your readiness, I'd highly recommend checking out episode 5, where we dive into our detailed readiness checklist.
And if you want more details or dive deeper into the statistics or the affordability metrics that we just discussed in this episode, the full report is available on my website. Check out using the link in the episode description.
And as always, if you have any other questions or want some personalized advice, feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to help.
So, Jerome, you might have seen lots of new announcements about new construction properties, the federal government pouring lots of money into it, new announcements about mortgage eligibility for buying or people buying new homes, especially new construction, the increased amortization on insurance mortgages, etc., etc. So I think it's a good opportunity for us to maybe discuss about what might be on the minds of some buyers, at least, as to whether they should consider new construction or a resale property for their next purchase. Do you have a clear and better choice among these?
Yeah, Neil, this is one of those questions that always gets people excited. And why wouldn't it? Choosing your home. whether it's brand new or a nice, charming old existing home. It's a big decision. And let's be real, way more exciting than talking about interest rates, right?
Oh, absolutely. No one wants to hear us drone about rates. What they care about is finding that perfect place that feels like home. But hey, we are mortgage brokers. So while we are here to talk about the fun stuff, we will sneak in a bit of little practical advice too. Let's get into the pros and cons of each of these options, namely, whether you should look at a new construction property or maybe a resale.
Yes. So let's start with new construction homes, for example. The big advantage here, it's brand new.
Mhm.
No one's lived in it before. Everything is shiny, and you get to be the first to experience that new home smell. That like the new car smell, but in your house.
Yeah, nothing like stepping into a brand new house, fresh paint, untouched floors, plus the big bonus with a new construction is customization. You get to pick your finishes, your flooring, your kitchen counters. Basically, you get to make it your own from the ground up, well, within certain limits.
Totally. And don't forget about some of those other little features like energy efficiency. New homes are built with a lot of the latest tech, so they tend to be more energy efficient than older homes.
Mhm.
Your heating and cooling bills will thank you later, I'm sure. Plus, you often will get warranty with some of the items that are in your house. So if something breaks in first few years, you're usually covered.
And that's a huge perk. Um, and there's something new that we should mention for first time home buyers, the recent policy changes that allows you to qualify for a new build purchase using a 30-year amortization instead of the usual or the earlier 25-year amortization. And this
Yes,
is possible even with a less than 20% down payment.
exactly. And so the other news rolling out is that starting December 15th of this year, you'll be able to purchase not just a new construction home, but any home with a 30-year amortization if you are deemed a first time home buyer. So that could be a game changer for a lot of people out there. Usually, when you have less than 20% down, you'd be stuck with just a simple 25-year amortization. But with the new policies, you can now stretch it out to 30 years. It also means lower monthly payments, which can really help people afford more of a home than they might have been able to otherwise.
It does give buyers a little more breathing room, especially when everything seems to be getting more expensive. It's one more reason why new construction can be appealing to first time home buyers who are trying to keep their payments manageable.
Yep. But of course, like with everything or anything, there are trade offs. That longer amortization means you'll likely end up paying more interest over the life of the mortgage. So that's something to keep in mind. But for some people, getting into a home sooner with more affordable payments is worth that extra cost initially or even in the long run.
And it's all about balancing your short term needs with your long term financial goals. And hey, when you're buying a new build, those extra savings on monthly payments can give you a little more room to breathe as you settle into homeownership.
Right. And as always, it's important to weigh the pros and cons. New builds give you flexibility with that amortization as well as the new rules, but resale homes come with their own perks as well.
Sure, let's dig into it. Homes with a bit of history.
Mhm.
What do you love about resales, Jerome?
Oh, resale homes are homes that are already built that people have lived in. They've got more character. You know, they've been lived in, they've been loved. They come with some quirks that you just can't find in a brand new house. Mature neighborhoods, big trees, established communities. That's something a new development can't always offer right away.
Totally. And the thing about resale is that you see what you get. There's no waiting around, no construction delays, And you usually move in a lot faster than with a new build, like years sooner.
Yeah. And a lot of the time, resale homes come with some extras, like fully landscaped yards, finished basements, or even upgrades that the previous owners added over time, like a new kitchen. You might score a home that has a great deck, or like that kitchen reno, something that just means that you don't have to end up doing that work yourself.
That's a great point. Plus, with a resale, you get a better feel for the neighborhood. You know what's around you, how quiet or noisy it is, and there are usually schools, shops, and parks nearby. It's most often an established area, and so you won't be wondering what that empty lot next door is going to turn out into.
Yep. But of course, there could be some downsides too. With resale properties or homes, you're likely dealing with some older systems like plumbing, electrical, possibly the roof. These could be nearing the end of their lifespan. So, while you might love that vintage charm, you could be facing some repairs maybe a little bit sooner than you'd like.
Exactly, and that can add up. Home inspections are a key when buying resale. You want to make sure you know what you're getting into. And let's not forget, older homes might not have all the modern convenience of a new build. Think smaller closets, fewer bathrooms, or maybe just outdated layouts that aren't as open and bright.
Yeah. Some real sale homes can have higher maintenance costs over time. And unlike new builds, there's no more warranty.
Mhm.
So when something breaks, it's all on you.
Yeah. So, new construction or resale, both have their perks and both have their challenges. But honestly, it all comes down to what suits your lifestyle. Do you want a fresh, customizable home with the latest tech? Or do you love the charm and history of a well loved home in a mature neighborhood?
Exactly. And no matter what you choose, the most important thing is finding a home that fits your needs. That's what makes the home buying journey so exciting. We're here to make sure that the mortgage process doesn't get in the way of that excitement.
And that's the key. Let's keep the fun in the house hunting and leave the mortgage worries to us. If you're stuck deciding between new construction and resale, just remember there is no wrong answer, only what's right for you.
Thanks for joining us on Getting Your Shit Together today. Whether you're dreaming of a shiny new countertop or cozy established community, we hope this helps you weigh your options. And as always, if you got questions, Neil and I are here to help.
And hey, until next time, take care and happy house hunting.